Hello everybody, welcome. My name is PenguinDog and today we're going to be reviewing a game called Bully. Let's go. So, Bully is a game developed by Rockstar Games and came at a time for the company where they were known as the sort of, anarchists of the video game world. They just came up with releasing Manhunt 1 and 2 and were known to be very controversial figures. So it came to a surprise when a Peggy 16 game came out about a kid in high school. Obviously, there was still some controversy to this whole thing. There was that lawyer guy, I can't remember his name now, who called it a Columbine shooter. Which is ridiculous if you actually go back and play this game. But yeah, I decided to come back to it because I actually have a lot of nostalgia for the game. I remember growing up in it and playing it a lot. I don't think I ever finished it, but, you know, I just had to go back and see how it held up. So let's start with the graphics. Now, the graphics are definitely PS2 era, but they're not too bad. They suffer from the syndrome a lot of these games did back then, where, like, the faces would look all meshed up and weird. But, no, the game stands up pretty well still. I mean, it's not brilliant, but, you know, it's a PS2 game. If you go in expecting PS2 graphics, you know, it's going to be exactly what you expect. But obviously in a game like this, it's not really the graphics which are that important, it's the gameplay. Now, the gameplay, I feel, suffers a little bit from Rockstar's mission design. If you don't know what I mean, I think, NakeyJakey did a great video on this regarding Red Dead Redemption 2, which obviously is a game which came out way later. But thinking of those criticisms of playing this game, like, it can get repetitive sometimes. Mainly because a lot of it just, you know, go here, accept the mission, collect this amount, or I don't know, throw a snowball at someone and then come back and collect the profit. But you know, the game does shine sometimes. It has different races sometimes. It has like different missions where you're using your catapult on the back of a bicycle and knocking down all the bullies. You know, it does sometimes deviate from what you would expect, and you know, it's still fun, even if it does on elongated playthroughs get a little repetitive at some points. This is backed up obviously by the combat. Now, the combat of this game, I wasn't too impressed with at first. The lock-on system is quite bad, to be honest. It never seems like it really wants to lock on to the person you want to be doing damage to. But after a while, you start to get used to it, and I did sort of warm up to the combat after a while, even if it is a little button mashy. You can get these radio transistors. I think there's 6 of them, and you go speak to the homeless person behind the bus, and he can teach you different moves, like a roundhouse kick and stuff like that, and it opens up the combat a little more. But the problem I have is that you never really seem to have to use those, because end of the day, like, if you just spam X a bunch of times, that's gonna get the job done. You know, all these different hold X, and then hold X, and then go Y to grab him, and then X, you know, just stuff like that. That's really useless, if I'm honest. You can just spam X throughout the whole game, and you'll be completely fine, which makes the whole thing feel a little redundant. It feels like sugarcoating to something which doesn't really need it. Now, there are a lot of minigames in this game, because the whole idea is that you're in a school, and you're taking on these different classes, and if you're late to the classes, you obviously get tackled by prefects. So you have to go to these classes, and these classes are sort of work as a light RPG element. And there's quite a lot of light RPG elements in the game. But, you know, this can unlock you new outfits, but it can also improve the health bonus you get from kissing a girl or something like that. And for the most part, they're really fun. I did have one massive gripe with 2 of these classes. The shop one is absolutely horrendous. It never seems to pick up when I spin the axes, and I don't know why. I don't know if this is a PC problem now that I'm thinking about it. It could just be with the fact that it can't detect my controller very well, but it is awful. I failed too many times at shop for no reason, and it got me very, very angry. The other one I really disliked was the photography class. The rewards you get from it aren't really that useful, and it takes up a lot of your time, like it's some sort of mission. Even though it's not, it's just a stupid mini game. But you have to run around and you have to take photographs of different places in the game. It's a little boring, it's a little bit grindy, and the rewards you get aren't great. Like, wow, I can shoot photographs in color, amazing, like, who cares? But the rest of the mini games are really fun. I think my favorite was the music mini game, where you have to like bang the drum in rhythm. That was fun. I really enjoyed that one. Oh, one I didn't like so much was the geography one, because I'm really bad at geography. I don't really have an excuse. I mean, I only got up to the second geography class, I think, on that one, because I always skip geography class for some reason. And yeah, like, I failed the states one like 3 times before I was like, fuck it, you know what, I'm just going to bring up a map of the United States and the side of me. Even the UK, I don't need to know where all the states are, you know. But yeah, I don't really enjoy that one. But, you know, if you live in the US, you'll probably be fine. There is driving things to do, which I also feel is a little redundant and a little easy, considering that if you just get the moped near the beginning of the game, like if you just grind for those carnival tickets, go into the shop, get a moped, these games will literally just be an effort of holding down the A button and moving side to side. It's super easy, and the AI are really bad, and I don't know why they would allow the moped to be in a BMX race. Like, it's a moped. Does that look like a BMX to you? But yeah, I don't know. I just gave up after a while because I was like, this is boring me, you know. I could just switch to the BMX, but that's just like unnecessary effort, knowing that I can win all these races by just riding on the moped. So yeah, I feel like the game hits the mark a little sometimes. It has some major balancing issues, like with the moped and just like the combat, how you can just spam X. I hope this isn't too much of a spoiler, but at the end of the game, there's a showdown with the main villain, and I just spammed X. I literally just spammed X throughout the entire thing, and I won. So, combat is a little dry, the driving's a little dry, but, you know, the reason why that's all acceptable is the story, the narrative, and the world. My god, does this game have an atmosphere and just a vibe like no other. Essentially, it's split up into chapters, and each chapter deals with taking over each faction in the school game. Now, it does have a faction system where there's points taken away and points added, but it's never really clear what that even means. It's just a thing which flashes at the end, and I'm sure you can look it in the stats menu. It seems a little pointless that you would have a faction system if there's no way to really even change it. Like, the missions are just going to change the factions for you. You might as well do all that in the background. I don't care about that. That's a nitpick. But yeah, each chapter deals with taking over each faction. So there's the nerds, there's the greasers, there's the jocks. There's basically everything you would expect from a typical high school. And it does take a little while to get going. Chapter 1 especially feels a little boring. Once the gates actually open and you can explore around the school, that's when it really picks up, and I felt like the game was really getting its footing and really getting its ground. Now, unfortunately, it's not just the first chapter which I feel is a little bad. The 5th chapter, the final chapter of the game, also feels a little rushed. A little bit of a spoiler here, but they introduce a love interest at the end, and it's so forced. He just randomly starts calling her love, and I'm just like whiplashed. I'm like, when did this happen? I did one mission with this girl and now I'm in love with her. Like, it's weird. I feel like a lot of content had to be rushed and cut out for release, which is pretty common even nowadays, but it is definitely something I need to mention. Apart from that though, the writing is absolutely phenomenal in this game, and I feel like half the time when I was entertained, it was because I couldn't wait to get to the next mission to hear the next lines of dialogue. It's a funny game, and it's a charming game, and it's really the main draw of this game. If you want a game which is consistently funny, consistently entertaining, Bully is for you. It's just a fun game. Yeah, there's balancing issues, and yeah, there's issues with the combat and issues with the driving mini games, but it is just a fun game, and it was hard for me to get bored, really. You know, there is some things to complain about, but at the end of the day, it is a fun time. Now, finally, before we move on, there is the soundtrack and the music. Which I loved. There is a lot of iconic songs in Bully which made me feel nostalgic from when I used to play this game when I was younger. I'm not sure how it will hit nowadays. I have to admit I'm a little bit biased when it comes to this, but I really did enjoy the soundtrack and the music in this game. Now, there is some issue with the audio, especially when it comes to character dialogue. There was this one mission where the crowd was cheering on and it sounded like super distorted and super glitchy. I'll see if I can find some footage of that. I don't know if it's just a Windows 10 thing, and it's probably fixed in the remaster, but it is something to bring up.
Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Now, as for bugs and issues, if you're playing on PC, you better expect them. Now, on Windows 10, it's basically essentially you need to download a patch called the Silent Bully patch. It's definitely. In fact, you know what? I'll leave a link down below to where you can download it. You definitely need to if you are going to buy this game on Steam or on Windows 10. And also the intro cutscenes don't load at all. It's never a problem later on in the game, but you might have to Google or YouTube the beginning of the game to really understand what's going on. But that's Bully. I had a great time with it. I think it is a great game and I highly recommend it to everyone. I'm gonna say what I said last time though. There are flaws and you have to be ready to accept those flaws and to just lay back and have fun. Which means that I give Bully a 7 out of 10. Definitely go out and get it as long as you are ready to accept some flaws. So that's what I think of Bully. What did you think of Bully? Let me know down below. Did you used to play this game when you were a kid? I'm interested to know. Also, please like this video and please subscribe this video. I am doing these every Sunday so far, and it's really quite exciting. I really like this YouTube thing, and especially in the lockdown we're in right now. We're still only easing out of it since I'm in the UK. It really gives a lot of structure to my life, and I enjoy doing it, even if not a lot of people are watching them at the moment. Yeah, so thank you for watching, and I will see you next Sunday. Goodbye.
Yeah, forward, go,